Hello everyone, and welcome back to Of Bricks and Dragons. Today we are working on our D&D solo RPG. So as you can see, I kind of have a little bit of a town set up. If you remember from last time, we just cleared out a small dungeon and we rescued some young ladies. We got them into the Wormwood, which is an inn, trying to make sure that they have a place to sleep. So we set them up with a place to sleep, some food, and some clothing, because their clothes were barely rags at all. So going from this point on, we enter into the town, and one of the things that we notice when we get back into town is how foggy the town is. It wasn't this way when we left, but it's this way when we have come back. A very thick fog in that, pretty much all over town. Now we are along, as you can see, we do have like a coastline there. So we are in the oldest part of town. This is the cheapest part of town, and this is where we are staying to help save money. The map tiles I have, I don't have quite as many as I would kind of like, but this is out of the actual box set dungeon tiles reincarnated. So here I'm trying to build a a town with what tiles I can get. So as you can see that we are here, I don't have my figures out here quite yet. I will get them out here and we will get going. So we're going to call this the Wormwood. These are just buildings. There's nothing at the moment going on with this. This was not originally in some of the stuff I've created. And like I had said before, I always change things up. So even though I wrote out an adventure for everything, I changed things up so that way if the guys that I normally game with, if they were to watch this and they were to say, oh, well, then I'm going to do this at this point or whatever, it always changes it up for them and it always makes it interesting. Likewise, if we die and we start the whole campaign over, it's never going to be the same campaign. And I do that on purpose, really just to keep everyone guessing. I know that when I first introduced this, so this is our third session. On the first session, there is a coliseum, a small coliseum in here inside the town, and we spent a couple sessions literally just fighting in a coliseum. So it all depends on what my group decides to do, and I work off of them. But because I'm doing this myself, I'm not worried about the coliseum at the moment. And with the group that I have, seeing that I've got a bard, a cleric, and a fighter, I don't think my characters are really set up for being gladiatorial fighters in a coliseum. But what we do have is we have characters with a lot of heart. Whether that translates to anything in good standing or not, I don't know. But we are going to try. And we are at level 2. In between game sessions. Actually, I did this right before because I forgot to get it done earlier, I should say. So our characters are now at level 2. So as we come out of the Wormwood from our own shared room, and we have one room for the, I believe it was 5 girls, so that way they have a place to stay. And I even have prices written out for some of these, with meals and all that stuff, or without meals. So as I open this up, and I will search through here real briefly, see what I have at the moment, because the worst part is when I was creating all this, I lost everything. The whole file I had gotten corrupted. Maybe I mentioned this before, but it's just the unfortunate part of where everything had gone. So the Wormwood is a worn down cobblestone inn sitting next to the dockside. So having that building right here would work very well. The inn has cheap rooms with no amenities, just a bed and a chamber pot. The cost is 8 copper pieces for a night and 40 copper pieces for a week. The smell from many drunken sailors that have slept off their alcohol is free of charge. So, anybody that's here, they're going to have to come up with their own meals or anything else, and it's a very basic room to get people just on their feet or whatever. You have a lot of sailors. Some of them aren't paid very well, so this is to exemplify that. I know that in talking to my best friend, who was one of the gentlemen that game with me, we were talking about this, and in one of the versions we had actually upped the cost in Dungeons and Dragons in the realm of Faerun, and maybe in some of the other realms as well. You're looking at about 1 silver piece a day for a common laborer's pay. So to sit here and say that for 40 copper a week, this is about just a little less than what you would make in 1 day. Now, you can take it for what it is, whether that's good or bad or anything else. It's just how I was trying to say, hey, this is El Cheapo Hotel. I'm trying to think like a Motel 6 in today's day and age or something, right? You get it for real cheap. Or if somebody else has a better one, that would be even cheaper, or whatever. It is a very cheap hotel. There is no breakfast. It's not a good ritzy place. All right. So, we're leaving a hotel after getting everybody set up. It is supposed to be daytime, but with the fog, it is just hard to see. And it's something that's just kind of rolled in. As we're walking down the street, we kind of hear chatter of people saying that with the fog being here, the ruling nobles must have returned, because it's always this foggy when they're here. So people think that they're maybe cursed or something, that whenever the nobles are in town, there's this just really dense fog hanging over the town. So we're looking for a place to, we really don't have any extra money coming in. We went and saved these young ladies and all that, but this is all coming out of our own pockets. There is supposed to be a guild in town, so we are going to try and see if we can't find the guild, to try and see, hey, who can we talk to, and what can we do to try and make some money. Maybe even we could get some money for having saved these people. Maybe there was something already out there. So that's what we're kind of working with. So as we're walking down, we hear kind of the chatter, the normal chatter you would hear during the day. Because we're by the dockside, we smell fish, kind of like they've been sitting out, and that coming off of fishing boats, and all that stuff. So it gives you a sense of there's an overall pungent smell in the cheap end of town here. And with that fog sitting there, it gets harder to see. So trying to move my phone before I knock it off, and as I'm sitting here kind of leaning over, because I'm going to start moving our figures and going from there. Okay, so as we're walking down, we pass up a couple stands. They look like just your common everyday stuff, selling regular household trinkets that as adventurers we're not overly concerned about. But some of the things that do surprise us is we run across 3 kobolds. Now, why are there kobolds in a major town? That is the big question. So we're facing off against 3 kobolds. So now, for whatever reason, we're going to be under attack. This will be for us. We got a 13, and the kobolds get a 20. Wonderful. All right. So the kobolds. These kobolds trying to take advantage of the fog. They're going to try and run up to us, which is not so good for my fighter. Let's see, they have a move of 30 feet. So I don't know how well you can see this. I see that there is a little bit of a glare here. On the tiles, there are little white marks here. So I can draw a line. I've got marks here, and then there's another ones here, and all that. So I can see them. I don't know how well you can see them. So as I count this out, we have 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 feet. They're all 3 going to rush up and try and attack us. They have daggers in their hands. That's what they're going to try and attack with. The only thing I'm going to mess up on, I am dead certain, is well, I guess I'll just use my sword because that would make it easier. With them being at point blank range, what my actual roll would be with a bow. Because I do know that it actually kind of hurts me a little bit. Trying to remember what it was. So I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna pause this for a second, and then I'm gonna look it over. Normally I have a +7 with my fighter to hit, but being at point blank range, I know I wouldn't get it. So I'm gonna have to look at this, and I'm gonna have to slide things off because I can't do anything on my laptop. All right, give me a second. Okay, so answering the question here, if I engage combat, for anyone that's not familiar with this, with everybody that knows this and is probably screaming at the screen, I have disadvantage. So rereading the disadvantage and the advantage, I would have to roll 2 20-sided dice, and I would take, for disadvantage, whatever the lower roll is. I remember in previous editions you had a negative to your roll and you would go off of that, but that's why when I'm going from one rule set to another rule set, I end up doing a little bit more time of just trying to making sure I'm doing this correctly, because I've been playing this since 2nd edition, and I remember some things from way back when that are no longer relevant, and then there's other things, and it's fine. Trying to make sure I'm staying with one rule set. So as it is, I'm going back and forth between a D6 and a D20, which I'm starting to think I should just stay with a D20 system. So when you watch, if you happen to watch my Sunday Star Wars campaign, I'm moving that over to a D20. So then, you know, trying to keep a similar rule set here, and we'll just kind of go with that. So that's all I'm really looking for. It's, you know, I love the D6. It's just trying to keep certain rules correct as I'm doing this, as I'm trying to straighten out a cord here, and shaking the camera. All right, so we're going to use our sword for one. They get their first attack. So as I look at things, we are going to take the far one, and that one is trying to attack Jessica. So let's see, he's got a dagger. He's going to try and attack. He rolls a 14. He's got a +4, I believe. Okay, Kobold, +4 to attack. So he's got an 18. She's got a 14 for an armor class, so that definitely hits. And then we roll a 1d4, and he's got a +2. So I don't know how well you guys see this. I rolled a 1. He's 3 points. And I don't have my pencil in hand. There's my pencil. Okay. So 3 whole points of damage. That takes her down to 13. Nope, 12. Jesus. My mind's not thinking. 12. She's got 15 hit points. Alright. Now we have Felnar. He's sitting there with his sword in hand, and the first kobold says, "Come and take this, you stinking human." He rolls a 10. That's a 14 in all. So he misses. And the second one rolls a 16, so that would be a 20, so he obviously hits. Hits Felnar for all of 4 points of damage. And Felnar, for whatever reason, he's got 13 hit points. You know what? I think I messed up. I think when I was leveling them up, I don't think, and I admit I'm kind of cheating here. I have an app for rolling characters because it works so nice. I don't think I actually leveled up his, or threw in what he has for his hit points. 22 hit points. Haha. I knew that didn't look right. Alright. So as I do my first mess up for the day, it's 22. And he is now down to, I'm going to fit my pen in there, but it won't fit. I have too many pencils and other stuff in there. Alright. Takes him down to 18. Alright. I have a huge collection of pencils, and unfortunately I like the mechanical pencils because I get some decent lead out of there, because unfortunately every time I try to sharpen these I keep breaking the lead. So if you notice, I've been taking a knife and sharpening this with a knife, so as archaic as that is, and I have some decent erasers. With my mechanical pencils, I don't know what it is, but every time I get some of them, by the time I really start using the eraser's always dried out, so I always have fits with the erasers, so I don't know why. It's like I can't find one happy medium over another. Just how things seem to work out for me. Alright, enough with my rant. Felnar, he's going to hit the very bottom one, the kobold closest to the camera. He's going to swing at that with his sword. Take this, you little rat. And he gets a 19. So, he does 1d8. So I suppose I should keep the d6 there. Or the d4. d6. I don't even know what dice I'm rolling now. Alright. Gets a 3. He has a +4 with his long sword for damage. That's 8 points. The kobolds only have 5 hit points. So the first one is gone. So I will gladly take that little gentleman out of the way, and we will put him over here by his kin. Alright. We have Jessica. She's going to take a swing at the other one with her long sword. Roll, and definitely does not hit. I got an 8 total. Doesn't do me any good. Alright. Then we have Giselle. Giselle is going to use her light crossbow, seeing that she's sitting there in the back. She gets a 19. I got an 8, and she has a +2. So that'd be 10 points of damage to the one in front of Jessica. So that one's gone. Alright, we're down 2. There's one left. Just going to try and stab the stinking human in front of him, and Felnar looks like he is saved. The knife does not make it out that far. Alright, Felnar gets an 18. I roll a 7 with my +4 for damage. Alright, that kobold is done. So now we're sitting here kind of looking through them, trying to figure out what in the dickens is going on, because this is very unusual. Now, we did have that one town that we had gone through, which I will have to come up with that town because that was never originally in there. So there's another town I gotta create. So we have one town that the kobolds had ransacked and enslaved people. We only found about 5 of them. And with this fog coming in, now we have kobolds coming into this town and attacking us. So this is really kind of something off. So we're trying to figure this out. So moving on from here, we're going to cautiously walk through town and just kind of make sure our little area looks safe. And then we're going to try and see if we can't do a little streetwise check. I believe it would be streetwise. Survival. Nope. Let's see. I guess perception would probably be the one of choice. I'm going to roll for Jessica. I'm really looking for, because they're trying to find like an adventurers guild, as my mind is not working very well for me. Alright, so she got a 3, has a +2. I'm looking for like a roll of 10 for them to figure out where they're supposed to be heading with this fog in here. It's making navigating a little harder for people that aren't very used to this. If they were from here, I would say, yeah, okay, here's like Joe's meat shop or whatever, and we'll just kind of go from there. Okay, so Giselle has a 13 with a perception bonus of 4, so there's 17. So apparently when we were going through town earlier, Giselle kind of noticed a couple landmarks that got us to, or helped guide us into the Adventurers Guild. Once we get into the Adventurers Guild, we kind of ask around, hey, has anybody heard anything about any kobolds attacking? Because we were just attacked. Nobody else seems to know anything about it. But they did hear that someone just came back into town that was not a part of the Adventurers Guild, and it sounds like they had brought some survivors from and I don't remember what town I had called it. I know I started redoing the map and I had a name for it, but I don't know what it is offhand. So let me get a second here to see if I can't figure out what the name of my town that I'm creating is, as I make a mess of things, right? Okay. Kind of see, I don't think it, nope, it's not in there. Just trying to see what file I have it in or where I had put it. And I don't think, let's see. I think I see the map. All right. Nope. That was a whole different map. I was looking at it at a moment there, but I decided not to. Okay. Cobbleton. All right. So on the island that we're on, we're at Portsmouth right now. The city that had been kind of destroyed was Cobbleton. What I should probably do is, if I can remember, I'm not very good at editing, so I know everybody's probably noticed that very well by now. I will try to start figuring out how to edit some of this stuff in here so that way everybody can see as I make changes. And this is actually the original map, so this still has the Majestic Isles listed as the in the banner there. So somewhere I have the other one and I don't know where I put that one. It's just some of the issues of, as like I said, as I was changing things and then I lost things and I go from there. All right. So here we are. We're at the guild hall, and we introduce ourselves. We mention that we haven't been part of the guild before. Our group is actually kind of put together by the church. Let's see. I always mess up the name. I want to say, I think it's pronounced Lastia. It's like a goddess of love and healing and that. But it's put together by that church, and our cleric and our bard are actually members of that church. I was brought in, kind of hired to help them out or whatever. I am hired for the long term, so I am kind of, for lack of better ways to say it, I am their guardian to try and help these young ladies spread love, kindness, and joy to the world, and of course try and help others understand the goodness of the faith. But like anyone else, we still need to eat and sleep, so we will still have to try and figure out how to make some money in this new area. So here we are. I'm gonna roll a couple dice here, because there's going to be a reward for helping to find these young ladies, and we are going to find 75. Wow, that seems a little on the high side, but 75 silver pieces. So that's what we're going to get. I will write it down. I'm going to write it here for the group. Plus 75 silver piece. All right. Okay. And then the other thing to mention is the I know when we picked it up, it was a staff. I changed it to an amulet, and because there was an amulet that was, or a staff that was found, as well as a magical or a light crossbow. We will get them appraised, and I don't know how much the appraisal is going to be. I don't know if I wrote it down in here or not, because I mean, I'll show you. It is a binder. It's a smaller binder, but still, it's the start of the world. And when I need to expand on it, I will expand on it. Trying to think if there is a place for them. And I was writing down how much it would be to get things kind of appraised. Not seeing a lot. Yeah, I'm not finding anything in here, so I'm gonna just say it's gonna cost about 10 silver pieces in this area to try and discover what it is. So that will knock down, for those two items, our group silver, or our group fund here, down to 55 silver. And then I will let you guys know we have Jessica has got a +1 light crossbow, and because of the way I had it written up in there, I'm kind of going with this one. Giselle has a amulet of healing, and it's got 10 charges. You can use one charge to heal a 1d8, or 2 charges to heal the group 1d6. If you use all the charges in one day, it breaks and is no longer available to use. If you save at least one charge, it will recharge itself after a long rest. So it kind of helps, especially when we have newer groups, or when you have a group that doesn't really have much in healing to begin with or whatever. So it's more of a stable that I've been putting in lately. Just trying to make sure that we can keep the game going. We don't have to sit and rest, and then I essentially have to repopulate the dungeon. Because if you're sitting there saying, hey, you're resting for a good 12 hours, it's not to say that creatures didn't move in and take up residence where you already cleared something out. So that's the reason why I put it in there. And the other thing is, it's nothing drastically overpowered. We will essentially level out of needing something like this because we're going to have so many more hit points, and healing a 1d8 or a 1d6 for the group or whatever isn't very useful anymore. So, but it helps us for a while. Okay. So, we sign up for the guild. We've gotten payment. We've got our stuff taken care of. Now the sticky parts are what's going on with the fog and how come we're getting attacked by kobolds all of a sudden. We come out of the guild hall, which for lack of anything better, I'm just going to say that's our guild hall for now. So I'll have us coming out of there. We run into a couple town guards. It does seem a little odd. Our town guards, they don't really seem like they're carrying, like swords, spears, or anything else. They're carrying knives and slings. So it seems a little odd for town guards, but they're wearing tunics that are identifying them as town guards. So they kind of brush up against us and kind of give us a little bit of a sneer, and they keep walking. And we continue on our way. So things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find a place to get some food. Let's kind of do a little bit of a search here. And again, not only are we going to need some food for ourselves, but as well as for the young ladies, seeing that we are in El Cheapo Inn. So it's not a lot of heavy combat at the moment, but just trying to think things through in a somewhat reasonable way. Seeing that I wanted to make sure I'm taking care of these people, this kind of bridges what's going on. We are in the dock wards. Let's see. All right. As I'm kind of looking through here. All right. Yeah. So places that we happen to find are the Crossed Staves, which is a commoner's inn. Akil's Pottery, the Dockside, which is a tavern. So looking at the tavern, I think that's what we're going to do. We go into the Dockside Tavern, which is a sturdy wooden building that shows some wear from the years of weather abuse from many storms. There are benches on the eastern entrance, overlooking the dock and the ocean beyond. Inside the sturdy building is a rough and gruff group of sailors drinking their worries away or swapping stories about their travels. There are two barmen wandering back and forth getting orders, as well as a barman behind the bar. From time to time, a middle-aged woman would bark orders to the barman and bring out bowls of some stew. So we'll approach the bar, we'll see what we can do. So on the, and talking to one of the barmen, we learned that Mel Fellhorn is the owner of the dockside, an attractive human woman. She's also the wife to the city's blacksmith. Or, well, I don't... The city originally, I think, was going to be smaller, so we'll say the ward's blacksmith. She may have a few quests for the group. So it's going to be explained that she's looking for someone to take some stew over to her husband. Let's see. She also could use some extra meat for stew, whether you want to hunt for deer, or let's see, deer or other animal. She's also looking for some whale oil for the oil lanterns. She also needs a supply of wood for the fireplace, as well as the stove. Okay, so we have on our menu, we have the poor man's stew, which is a fish stew. There's a good stew, which is using beef, and then there's a great stew using venison. So the poor man's stew, which is a fish stew, is 3 copper pieces. We'll get a couple of those. And then knowing how much it's going to cost, I think when we get back, we'll give the 5 ladies maybe a silver piece or 2. Probably just a silver. Well, yeah, we'll do two silver pieces. So we'll mark off another 10 silver. Seeing that we got it for rescuing them, we'll give them some of the reward. That way they have a means to get themselves up on their feet, and we can get going from there. Some of the things that I had put in here, and I don't know if this is something that you're going to be interested in or not, is whenever we are, if you take a break, because typically my thought is you're going to be, you take a break inside town or somewhere, you're going to be gone for a couple days or whatever, and we'll have a couple days actually transpire in the game. And that is very much of what the original Dungeons and Dragons was trying to do. You take a break into town, you're going to have a couple days pass, and then you go back out. It's not like you're on this constant adventure and you just save your video game and you go from there. Oh, let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can find Sword District. I don't see. I had actually done up a way to, and maybe I have it online or on my computer, but I didn't print it out, which is a big possibility, seeing that in rewriting this I wanted to add this in, and this is why I'm trying to explain it to you. So in between I wanted to have a role, like if you were actually going to go and do some hunting, or if you wanted to do some fishing, or do some other crafting, or even if your guys are just sitting there in a bar or something like that, or I figured that they might still hit a tavern at the end of the night and drink away some of their sorrows, because it's always depicted a lot of those things going on anyways. Why don't I have a seat here, because I'm kind of standing here trying to talk to you. I'm going to have a seat here and try and see if I can't find this. In the meantime, though, what I will say is the idea here is along the way, when we're not playing, we're going to have some downtime, and in that downtime, if say I just wanted to stop right here and say, hey, I'm going to have my characters just kind of rest, recover, and all that. So I'm going to make a roll, and I don't remember what the roll was. That's why I'm kind of looking for it, and I can show you a little bit of what I was thinking. All right. Let's see here. Alright, so this I think is a little bit more of a updated, but I don't see what I'm looking for at the moment. Anyways, so when you're stopped in between the game, you should have the opportunity. Nope, this is an older one. Doesn't have all the stuff. To actually just make money, or possibly make money. You know, you're not going to lose money, but you would have the opportunity to, in between, possibly make a couple coin. In between, so you know it gives you that opportunity. So if you're sitting there saying, hey, look, you know, I'm trying to get my character to save up money for like a different sword or whatever, I was trying to add something in there so that way you could do a roll and you could figure out what that was going to be. And I'm trying to remember how I had that and where I had it. Let's see, maybe it's in the wilds. And I don't see it offhand. I got a little dungeon here for the wilds. Actions. Okay, so this was one of the this is the format I was going with, and seeing that starting all this up, and then I'm trying to remember what was what. And I had two different saves, so when I was trying to rewrite this. So trying to get it so that way you have that opportunity. Whether I just sit here and say that you've got it. I think it was like a D20. So you're going to roll a D20, and you need at least a 10. So I got an 18. So there's the opportunity that I made 8 silver in between our 2 gaming sessions. It's not sitting there saying I'm making a ton of money, but I am making some money. So if I wanted to go hunting and I had a very good harvest, I would actually come out a little ahead. Now, if this turned out to be even a 1 or an 8 or something like that, or a 2, it doesn't mean I lost money. It just meant that whatever I made, I probably drank it away. Just trying to do something like that. So that way it always gives us the opportunity in between while we're resting and all that to do something, make a couple coin, whether we do or not, because that's just the way human nature is, right? Sometimes we make money and then we spend it on role-playing games or Legos or drinking or whatever the case is, and here we are. So I'm going to do that for each of my characters. We're going to rest here for like a week. So I'll give you a little instance of how we're going to do this. So we have Fulnar, and everyone's going to roll. So Fulnar got an extra two silver pieces. So oh, that's Jessica. And the reason why I do it separately is you might have one person that can use her skills and make some extra money while you have somebody else. So Giselle, she doesn't make anything. So being a cleric, there's a good chance that maybe she spent her time trying to help heal others. Okay, so she doesn't make any money. And then we have Jessica. Jessica got a 13. So now Jessica made 3 silver pieces. Okay. So now we've rested for a week. This fog is still here though. So we're still dealing with the fog. Still have not gotten any answers as to what the fog is in a week's time. We bid farewell to the young ladies. They're up on their feet and then they get going. And from the sounds of it, sounds like they're going to start over in this town somewhere here. There are missions, and I'm going to kind of end this a little on the early side, I think. I don't even know how long we're going here. 44 minutes. All right. As I'm trying to close other things down. I know I'm spending more time explaining other things than doing active things or whatever else. the hardest part is because it's me doing this and not a group where I go off of them, and you know, trying to do what would be right, because I have a cleric here and I have a bard that are very religious and they want to do the right thing, and then I have a fighter who's been, hey, he's getting his portion of whatever, and he's in it for the adventure, and we just go on from that point. But I want to do what would be right for them, and to spend a week and make sure these young ladies are up and running and all that, trying to get all this stuff going, and explain my thought process as I'm creating a world. So hopefully these are things that you guys can throw into your games and everything else as well, or maybe it's something that you hear me talk about and it's like, yeah, that really doesn't fit into your play style, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody plays differently, and how I play here compared to when I have the guys, because like I said, I go very heavily off of the things that they come up with, which is not saying it's good or bad. It's just how we kind of do things, and we go from there. So I'm going to end it here. I know it's not as much adventure and all that stuff, but we'll get going a little bit more on what else is going on next week. This is kind of a little less adventure, a little bit more filler or whatever, trying to tie some other ends up, trying to get us going here. Because I know that my characters had actually taken damage last time. Yeah, they healed up, but let's be real and actually have them really just kind of rest up. So that's where we are. Alright, well, with that being said, for everybody that stopped by, I'm happy to have you share my pool table, sit around the table with me. I'm always happy to have you guys here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Keep breaking, keep smiling. Thank you.